next question for you.
Sure.
What are your 3 tips about identity? You mentioned something before about, mothers, they lost their identity as soon as they have kids. They become unhappy or maybe overwhelmed. Can you explain?
Yeah, sure. Okay. So I could wrap it on about this for quite a while, but I'll try and keep it to the 3. So, it would be difficult. Okay, so my first tip is to check in with what messages you are sending yourself. So there is the reticulated activated system, which is part of the brain which filters out messages that you pick up from around your environment through your 5 senses. Sometimes people say there's 6. Also through your intuition and gut instinct.
Yeah.
So those messages then go through this, through the RAS, and then go to like the processing and storage plant in the brain. Now, I liken it to a gatekeeper. So the gate goes up and down, up and down. When it's down, it's saying, nah, those messages aren't what she needs or wants. We'll shoot those off. They go to the rubbish tip. And when the gate's open, it lets those messages through. If you are, in essence, sending negative, bad, unpurposeful messages to your gatekeeper, eventually all it's going to be letting through is negative, unpurposeful messages. That goes to the storage and processing plant in the brain. And then our identity starts to identify with those things. Messages like, I'm fat. I'm an unworthy mother. I don't deserve to be here. I don't deserve this, that, or the other. Those I am not enough sort of messages.
Yes.
So if we consciously send positive, purposeful messages to the gatekeeper, they're going to be letting in, now let's be honest, we're not perfect. Not every message we send ourselves is going to be, all glitters and rainbows.
Yes.
Let's be honest, we are human. But if we send more positive messages and purposeful messages, the gatekeeper's going to let in a higher percentage of those than the negative.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that then goes to the storage and processing plant of the brain, and then our identity starts to be molded into that person. So I am enough, I am worthy, I am capable of doing anything I want, I am a phenomenal woman, I am a phenomenal mother, all those sorts of messages.
Yes.
Eventually we begin to believe ourselves, and that's one of the key things with identity, is being able to have belief in yourself. So an action step to do that is to look at what you are picking up through your 5 senses. So what magazines are you reading? What music you're listening to? It's amazing what messages are in the lyrics of music.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you don't think about it and you go, and when you really consciously listen, you think, oh, maybe not. If the music sales go down, please, that is not my fault. What Facebook groups and you're subscribed to? If it's like Whinge Central, maybe that's not the best choice for you. Positive messages on the wall. So I have one in my bedroom called We Rise by Lifting Others. So whilst I don't consciously read it every day, and you don't have to do that, but my eyes glance over it every day, and then it does go to my gatekeeper, and that goes into the storage and processing plant. So that's tip 1. Tip 2. Tip 2 is don't be something you're not. Be raw and authentically you, because people see through the BS. If you're not being your raw and authentic self, and people are going to see through that, and you're going to be attracting people into your life, situations into your life that aren't going to serve you any purpose, because you're not being who you are. Yes. And the other thing in saying that is don't try and become something you're not either. Like identify with who you are in essence as a woman and a person and a human being, because at the end of the day, we're born with, and someone else has mentioned this, and I really like this, so I'm not the creator of this statement, but your name is the one thing you actually own.
Mm-hmm.
So not your married name, your mate, like what you were born with. Identify with that person, encourage that person to grow to who they want to be, and identify with that. And then anything else on the outside of that is just an added bonus. So obviously we identify as a mother, we identify as a partner, we identify as a teacher, this, that, the other. But if we, in essence, don't identify with the name we are born with, then how can we identify as anything else?
Yeah.
So action step. And the other thing too, actually, is if we try and be someone we're not, it doesn't serve us any purpose, but it also doesn't stick either. Like that identity doesn't stick. We kind of jump in between and we get even more lost.
Yes.
Can't see the forest for,
definitely.
Yeah, can't see the forest for the trees. So an action step for that is to begin looking for podcasts such as yours, books, coaching that gels with you, that floats your boat, that goes for your needs and desires, and jump into that journey, but making sure that all those things are purposeful to who you identify with as a person. Because, yeah, obviously, like I said before. Number 3 is be kinder to yourself. Don't fall into the trap of the controlling helicopter parent kind of thing and work, which is really hard, you know, for some people. Allow kids to make mistakes. Now, why I say this as identity is if we are so busy trying to be that controlling helicopter parent, we're spending more time on them and not allowing time for us as a person. Yes. So obviously if they're going to burn down the house, then chop her in that baby and stop them burning down the house. But allow them, understand that it's okay for them to make mistakes. It's okay for you to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Be imperfectly you, that's okay. You know, obviously we have to use common sense here. The other thing, it gives not being kind to yourself and allowing you to express who you are, which will role model to your kids that they can identify as themselves, and that's okay for them to express, rather than trying to helicopter parent them to be a certain way.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So a really good action step is scheduling time for you so you're kinder to yourself and you can step away from all the helicoptering and be authentically yourself. Now, that can people go, oh, how the earth am I going to do that? Well, schedule time. Book in daddy daycare. They're a dad. Like if you have a partner, they're a dad. It's their job to be a dad. So it's great bonding time for them and the kids, and you get time out. Now, this time out is not so you can fold up the clothes without the kids. Hey, but there are some
never-ending
people,
job.
That's true, but some people, that might really float someone's boat, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But ideally, this is time where you go and do, whether it's a hobby or you go do something for you that feeds your soul and, you know, feeds your cup, you know, fills your cup up. And if you're a single parent, because I've been there too, as a single parent, I used to book in after school care. So I used to get that break it was a Friday afternoon. So that Friday afternoon period after school, he'd go to after school care and I'd get that hour and a half to myself, or I'd ask a friend. And obviously you pay it back, you know, a sandwich isn't buttered on one side, it's buttered on two. So, you know, you obviously reciprocate that favour. So
Wonderful.